For latest updates and short audio clips, follow us on Instagram, Reading the Author.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast Reading the Author, a unique show where we read authors' mind and not their book. Meanwhile, I truly believe and pray that you and your families are completely safe and healthy as well. Today we have GC Nightwalker with us, the author of Dreams of Perfection. Thank you so much brother for coming on our show. We are highly grateful कि आप हमारे show पर आए.
Hi Gaurav, thanks for having me. Yeah.
So, it's the first time when I'm denoting someone as my brother in this podcast, and that's really special for me.
Well, I mean, it's I like when people call me as brother rather than sir or something, as if I'm above them.
Okay. So before, we get into the podcast and know much more about your book, about your vision and all those things, I would request you to please introduce yourself and let our audience know much more about you, about your journey of being an author and all those things.
My full name is Gopal Chakrabarti, which is in my pen name, the initials GC. And Nightwalker is a reference to how I got to writing this book, which is because in somewhere in middle, I was not able to sleep properly at all. I don't know whether I had insomnia or not. I don't want to self-diagnose, but I could go 2 to 3 days without sleeping and stuff, and that's when the idea started coming in. I have been I am currently right now I'm in ISR Mohali, which is Indian Institute of Science Education and Research. I'm in my hostel room, and I'm doing a maths major. And the idea for this book came to me when I was 10 years old. Currently I'm 21, and I have done 8 to 9 attempts on this book, and every time even though the story changed, the general concepts and the general ideas remained pretty much the same. In fact, if you went and read some of my older drafts, you would get some spoilers for what is coming later. So yeah.
Okay. So can you share when was that first thought just stuck in your mind कि नहीं अब तो book publish करवानी पड़ेगी, because 10 years is quite a long time, right?
Yeah.
So when was that the final decision, what was that feeling?
10 साल का था ना. Then at that time I used to read a lot of Harry Potter.
Okay.
And when reading the Harry Potter, I mean, I had some creative differences of my own, as every author does. That is where the idea began. The idea to write a book in the first place. But at that point, it was just something I would do it for fun or something. And going forward towards 2013 and stuff, that's when the idea started getting more refined because I got into anime. And the moment when I realized कि अब तो book publish करनी है, that was in mid 2014. Because I had written, I was just sitting there and I was just thinking, and I was thinking I would continue the novel I had been writing till then. But what happened is I just sat there and I started something new, because I always try to write down ideas which are not relevant immediately but might come in handy later. And I started writing, and I think after an hour or so I realized that I had written 107 pages of something like an entirely comprehensive story, and I thought nahi, ye to publish karna padega yaar.
Yeah, that's something serious.
Yeah.
Okay. So as we know that the book is released and it is performing really well on Amazon as well. But there must be some sort of people, or there must be a lot of people after listening to this podcast, they will just start searching for book, and they would like to something about the book, some insights you can share, or what a reader can expect from this book. Then can you please?
So first things I would say is if mentions of suicide and sexual harassment trigger you at all, try to keep away from the book, because in the very first 3 pages there is a mention of a suicide. If you see the cover page, you will see there is so the idea of the cover page itself is that the main character has grown older, and now she is reminiscing about that one moment where everything in her life changed, which was the suicide of her father, which she saw happening. like उनकी उसके आंखों के सामने हुआ. So and secondly, the final attempt which I made at the book, the idea behind it was to help me deal with my own depression and stuff. And so there is a lot of the main character's powers are many people will say they are lightning based, but there's a lot of psychological aspects to her powers. And I have sort of used those powers to sort of project into the real world what her psychological issues are and how she's dealing with, like not having a father. And like it's not a spoiler because it's in the back of the book that her father comes back. So like now out of a sudden 17 years have gone by and her father is back, and how she's dealing with these things, how she's dealing with the fact that she has such immense amount of power, immense amounts of supernatural powers, how she's dealing with the fact that she's in like how big she thought the world was, it's like suddenly expanding, all of those things. And there are like other characters, like there is this character of this character which is who used to be an artificial intelligence, but now he has slowly transitioned to a artificial organism as a synthezoid. And he's sort of dealing with, okay, what is it to like he doesn't know emotions, right? And he's feeling all of these things all at once. He's feeling hunger, he's feeling love, and he's in the like teenager phase, so he's also feeling certain feelings and stuff. So how he deals with them and stuff like that. And there are lots,
Okay, so
and the book's tagline really highlights what I have done well, is the one girl strategy that will change the universe. So like it is going to be a tragedy, so don't go expecting a happy ending. But it revolves around her, and it is going to impact this universe at least going forward.
Definitely. So it seems to be really interesting. So can we expect more such books from you, or you want to try and experiment in some other genres or something like that? Like what's the upcoming plan?
No, I have already written the second book. I will give it into publishing a little later. The second book is going to be a collection of some short stories which I feel are important to give a broader context to the stories which happened in the novel. And I also feel are important to give the reader a hint as to what is going to happen going forward. But I don't want to like include them in any novel because of pacing issues and relevance and stuff like that. But I do want the readers to read them. Okay. So I'm going to continue this
as of now.
Yep.
Okay. So my next question to you is like, most of the authors are working to create a sort of impact on their, reader's mind. Like they want to be known or remembered as a certain genre of writer or something like that. So like when it comes to personal branding, like basically it's a personal branding, right? So what sort of impact do you want to create on reader's mind? Like, okay, agar aaj se koi 1 ya 2 saal baad agar koi book uthaye ki okay, it's a book by, GC Nightwalker, then what sort of that sudden impact you want to create on your mind ki matlab unke mind mein pehla thought aana chahiye ki are inki book hai to ye book aisi ho. Is there any sort of strategy you're working on, or it's आपने अभी तक ऐसा सोचा नहीं इस बारे में?
I try to be thought-provoking with my books. Like I want my readers to think, and I want them by the end, like even if they might not have enjoyed the story, I want them by the end to come out with something which will help them either with their own problems or help them understand problems which they might not face. Like part of the problem with lot of the issues that like if I'm facing some problem which is not very common, someone else might not understand it, and that can like add to that thing. So I want to reduce that from happening, and that's why there is a lot of like issues which I have dealt with in the book, which can have an impact on you, but simultaneously which aren't that common as of now. But I also understand that the reader needs to be engaged with something, and that is why the book is science fiction. And like this might sound like this science fiction is secondary, but it's not, because मेरा पहला idea यही था कि मेरे को science fiction novel लिखनी है, I wanted to write a science fiction novel, and I wanted to write a mythological novel, and I wanted there to be like, these huge spectacles and huge battles and god of war and god of time and god knows what. Because it is my belief that even in those larger than life concepts, there is something which can be gleaned about real life, about everyday life. And the idea of using this to cover certain issues only came to me recently. So yeah.
Okay. So as we all know that after the first lockdown, the numbers of writers are getting increased day by day. Like there are hundreds of books are being published every week, we can say. The publishing has become so easy, Kindle's direct publishing, self-publishing and all those things. So what sort of competition do you feel in this industry? Like a sort of neck to neck competition, or you are someone who feels ki creativity mein koi competition nahi hota, everyone in their own race? Like what's your take on this?
If competition nahi hota hai, that's not possible. There is always going to be competition, because an author needs readers, and every reader has only so much attention span and only so much time in the day. So there is going to be some amount of competition, but at the same time, I do believe that if you help other people in your domain, in the author's domain especially. So what happens is, let's say you are doing in a science fiction novel, you might think of another science fiction novel as a competition. But like if you let's say for example, you help that science fiction novel go forward somehow, okay? And let's say that novel's idea is a little bit more digestible than your idea, and people get used to that idea. Let's say that novels get famous and stuff, and then because of them being like a little bit into the science fiction genre, then they are now able to digest your ideas, which were like earlier not as easily digestible to them. If I'm making sense. But at the same time, yes, there is a lot of competition. There is I do sometimes feel that should I spend more money on advertising? How should I advertise? Where should I advertise? It does get a little hectic on the brain. Readers nahi aa rahe.
बिल्कुल. Okay. So sir, प्रोफेसर आपने बताया कि आप पिछले 10 साल से लिख रहे हैं.
मत बोल यार.
हाँ, वही इसलिए मैंने करेक्ट कर लिया. तो आपने बताया कि आप 10 साल से आपके पास ये आइडिया था, या आप लिख रहे हैं जो भी है. तो एज ऑफ नाउ डू यू हैव एनी पर्टिकुलर राइटिंग शेड्यूल? लाइक आप दिन में कोई पर्टिकुलर स्लॉट डिवोट करते हैं कि मुझे डेली इतने घंटे लिखने हैं, या इट्स जस्ट लाइक कि बेसिकली जैसा मेरे साथ होता है कि कभी कोई थॉट आया तो फोन में या डायरी में कहीं नोट कर लिया, फिर बाद में बैठ के लिखना है? आपके साथ कैसा होता है?
व्हाट आई डू इज, दिन में मुझे इतना अमाउंट लिखना है. I don't generally assign a time, because I used to do that. I used to assign time, but over time what I've understood is there are a lot of unexpected things which happen in life, more so when you grow up. So if you know how much you have to do, then you know that I can shift my timetable around, and I can do this much and I'll be done with today's thing.
Yeah, in fact that's a better idea, because in fact basically when you are in college, और या फिर जब आप काफी लोगों से जब मिलते हैं तो बहुत सारी अनएक्सपेक्टेड चीजें डेली होती रहती हैं. Okay. So as we have talked about your book, about your vision and future plans and all those things, now coming to your personal life, can you share with us like what was the most happiest moment of your life? Like I know there must be many, but if you can share just one of them with us.
The happiest moment of my life, right? So before coming here, so India mein, you guys must know that there is a lot of craze about engineering and medical. अगर आपने science लिया है तो engineering and medical में जाना है. But I didn't think like that. I never thought like that. Like initially, I didn't even want to take science, which like if I hadn't done that, it would have been a mistake. I agree now. I wanted to take arts because मेरे को literature वगैरह में जाना है. But I took science anyways, and I took PCMB. I took both, and I was always treated as sort of an outcast, because first of all, everyone used to think that I was indecisive because I didn't know what I had wanted to take, whether medical में जाना है या engineering में जाना है. And they also used to like sort of say that यार अगर engineering medical नहीं करना है तो पैसे नहीं आएंगे, all of those things, the typical. The only reason I didn't get completely sidelined was because मेरे marks अच्छे आते थे, and उसकी वजह से लोग तो पीछे भागेंगे. तो यहाँ पे आने के बाद, after coming here in this college, it was the moment that I realized that almost like 90% of people here are from PCMB background. Very few have taken PCM and PCB, and here it's actually a disadvantage to take PCM or PCB. Either ways, and also the realization that there are so many people, over 100, 200 people, like in my batch alone, who not only think like me but also have made similar life choices to me, and also felt like outcasts, which it really elated me.
Okay, definitely, अपने जैसे लोगों को पाना, it feels a sort of satisfaction as well. Okay. So, coming to the time, like when your book was about to release, what was going on your mind? Like, were you feeling stressed, या फिर आपने कोई milestone set किया था कि मेरे book को इतना sale करना पड़ेगा, या ये सारी चीजें होंगी, या आप stressed थे, nervous थे? Like, what was going in your mind?
मेरे दिमाग में एक ही चीज चल रही थी, why is there a lockdown right now? Because of the lockdown, like I was told it would originally take 48 days to like complete the publishing. Instead it took 2 years.
Oh my god.
So yeah, so like the change is drastic. So that was like initially, I was thinking कि यार कैसे publish होगा, लोगों को पसंद आएगा या नहीं, but as the weeks went by I was like क्यों lockdown है?
Definitely, 48 days का बोल के अगर इतना टाइम लगेगा तो that will be really hectic for someone. Okay, so as of now, can you share like what's your current mental state, like as a person, as an author? आप किन चीजों पे फोकस कर रहे हैं अभी?
देखो, मेरे को I currently do want to complete my degree, and I want to complete my PhD going forward, because mathematics is something that I really love. Like, so like many people seem to like hate mathematics because there is a lot of like the mathematics feels very disconnected from human emotions and human. There's a good reason why it's that way. I won't get into that now. But the thing is, to me, maths was an outcast of its own, and I found my identification there. And mereko, like, maths is something which I can do while sleeping also, just like reading and just like writing novels is. So I do want to complete my PhD, I do want to complete this degree and stuff, and apart from that I also want to my primary focus is writing novels, because that is how I want to see myself earning money in the future. और उसे छोड़ के मैं म्यूजिक वगैरह करता हूँ, and I play a lot of games, so I was thinking of starting a YouTube channel and stuff, which I do have a channel, but उसमें सिर्फ 4 वीडियोस है, और वो भी मतलब गैप डाल के डाली है मैंने. और एक ब्लॉग स्टार्ट करने का सोच रहा था, where I would say my thoughts about movies and stuff. Like, I'm a huge MCU fan, I'm a huge anime fan,
okay,
and I'm a huge video game fan. So वो सब
वो सारी चीजें उसमें रहेंगी. हाँ, okay. And as an author, आप अभी क्या सोच रहे हैं next?
As an author तो लिखते रहो यार, और क्या, कुछ ना कुछ तो आ ही जाएगा.
Maybe. Okay. And my last question to this podcast is what are your advices for the upcoming authors? Like, there must be many upcoming authors who will be listening to this podcast, and they will be holding their draft in their laptop, in their hands, in their files, diary somewhere. So what's your advice अगर आप उनको देना चाहें तो what would be that?
2 चीजें बोलूंगा. Number 1, never stop writing, because sometimes when you're releasing your first novel, I also had this thought in mind ki, if I'm releasing my first novel, let's see what the what the reply will come, and what the response will be, and according to that, if I have to change anything, if I have to address anything, stuff like that, and then I'll start writing. but like the thing is it actually acts to your detriment, because अगर आपकी habit एक बार छूट जाती है ना लिखने की, it's very difficult to get back into the habit. And secondly, while I understand that writing is a very emotional process, at least it says for me, I would suggest that do get attached to your characters as much as you can, to the idea of your characters, but never get attached to an individual script. Because उससे क्या होता है ना, if you keep writing and you keep on like writing, and eventually like let's say your first novel came, the responses were somewhat like, you know, you realize, okay, I have to change this part. So if you're not too attached to the script, you can go back and change things, you know. But if you're attached to the script, वो क्या होता है ना, many a times like we get attached to it because इतना काम डाला है, इतना समय गया इस पे, I don't want to change it. बिल्कुल. But you have to be ready to do it. So like don't stop writing and don't get too attached to the script. That is what I would say. Okay. And you know, eventually success तो आनी है कभी ना कभी.
बिल्कुल. Okay. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you must have enjoyed this episode, and if you do, then do follow our podcast, Reading the Author, available on all the leading podcast platforms. And don't forget to buy and read the book. Just go on Amazon, आप पे सर्च करें ड्रीम्स ऑफ परफेक्शन, बुक आ जाएगी. जरूर खरीदें, पढ़ें और अपने जानने वालों के साथ, चाहने वालों के साथ जरूर शेयर करें. थैंक यू सो मच ब्रदर फॉर कमिंग ऑन आवर शो. वी आर हाईली ग्रेटफुल कि आप हमारे शो पर आए.
थैंक यू गॉडफ.